So pensions, well, up until now and currently, typically have been outside of the scope of IHT, so it falls outside of your estate. What was announced yesterday is that actually any unused pensions, I think was the term, or death benefits, would on death fall within your estate. So basically be subject to inheritance tax, which
if your estate goes above a certain level,
if it goes above a certain level and you haven't got the nil rate band,
dependent on your circumstances again,
as ever, So suddenly that could bring in quite a significant figure into your estate. That also, the fact that people will have been paying into their pensions for a number of years, potentially as part of a sort of IHT strategy, on the basis that it falls outside, and suddenly that then gets dragged within. So
tax planning, paying into a pension,
exactly. So I think I mentioned it in our predictions video that we did.
You did.
I was expecting potentially that there could be an introduction of limiting the income tax relief when you put into a pension. That didn't come about and wasn't included yesterday. But to me, I think that would have been fairer probably to change the tax on going into a pension, because at that point you would know what you're dealing with before you contribute in. And obviously don't forget that once you contribute into a pension, potentially you're tying up those funds for quite a number of years. To me, that would have been fairer to do it that way moving forward, as opposed to changing the goalposts on funds that you've already put in and are obviously now within it. So but nonetheless, that's what's been introduced, and that's now sort of how the landscape's going to look, I guess.
And also, Tom, there was an additional freeze to IHT as well, wasn't there, in terms of the nil rate band and the resident nil rate band? So another 2 years, right?
Yeah. So the nil rate bands are being frozen until 2030, I believe.
Yeah, from 2028.
Yeah. So that in it itself isn't necessarily a tax increase, but indirectly it is, in the
Fiscal
same way
drag.
as exactly.
Drag.
Now it's kind of it's laughable a little bit with a nil rate band, because the main nil rate band, which is 325,000, and as I've just said, is going to be frozen until 2030. It's been that same figure since 2009. So we're looking at effectively 21 years of the nil rate band value figure being the same, in the face of asset prices going up probably quite considerably in that time period. So not a tax increase, but given what we've just said, potentially a lot more estates will be dragged within the IHT regime because that nil rate band hasn't changed.
So we'll have to look at it subsequently, but I think you can find figures that show that more and more estates are falling into IHT, if you want to call it that, being dragged into IHT through this frozen band. And the value of that to the exchequer in terms of the tax take has been going up and up and up. So very valid point there, Tom.